All right, hey, I just wanted to give a few wrist exercises. So we're going to be looking at imagining the left wrist is the wrist of that has the challenge. And so if you have a stiff wrist after being immobilized, you're going to want to make sure you stretch it, and you're going to want to learn how to do different tasks with your wrist again. So today we're going to mainly focus on stretching and kind of loading the wrist as well. A lot of the things I'm going to be showing here, but you can also be doing them, and I would highly recommend you do them on your hands and knees. So kind of doing them with both sides. And another thing I'll say is that if it's uncomfortable with the side that's involved, again today is going to be our left, to do it with your uninvolved side first, to kind of teach the brain and teach the body to tolerate it a little bit better. So first things first, really easy stretches. You can kind of do a prayer stretch, kind of holding this as long as you can tolerate it. You want to try and get to up to a minute. You know, you may start here and gradually learn to do this. What you don't want to do is kind of compensate through other parts of your body. So you really want to keep those palms together and try and come all the way down. Next, you can do a reverse prayer stretch. Again, same thing. You don't want to kind of compensate through other parts of your body. You want to try and really kind of keep those wrists nice and straight. You can stretch in the different directions of the wrist. You can also kind of, as a more aggressive stretch, kind of a pulling the fingers out like so stretch. That's going to stretch the wrist flexors are going to all be here, and then same thing here, and these are going to stretch the extensor muscles of your wrist. You may have some discomfort in the wrist because of joint pinching. What you can do is you can kind of fiddle and kind of press on different parts of your wrist and try and move it. You can kind of try and push from the front or from the top here and try and push. And I'm kind of just pushing with my two fingers here, kind of like so, as I try and move my forearm over my hand. You can kind of pull. So again, I'm kind of hooking and giving a gentle pull here, and I'm pulling my forearm bones, or it can get a little bit lower and hook onto my wrist bones here. So you got your forearm bones and your wrist bones, so you can hook onto those wrist bones, and again gently move your forearm as you kind of hold that position. Or you can take your thumb. I'm just kind of pressing like I would press a remote control or a gamer button, and I'm kind of just gently pressing towards in the direction of my fingers on my wrist bone again. You want to be gentle. You have some vessels and some nerves there, but you can also press that to see if that helps. So some of the exercises that you can then do after you kind of stretch some of that would be to kind of, I like to take my fingertips and have nice little arches of my fingers and kind of just pulse. And again, these are the things that I would highly recommend doing on your hands and knees. But gently pulsing, trying to keep all your joints bent. And this is going to start to help the loading and the strength of your hand. So you can kind of see that my pinky finger wants to lock. That's not one I use a lot. And so you want to try and keep them all bent and just kind of pulse. I'm putting a lot of weight. You can see that my fingers are a little bit white, and so I'm putting a lot of weight into those fingers. And then you can kind of do one at a time. Press, 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 press. What this is doing is it's kind of waking up your forearm muscles. It's waking up your brain on that side. From here, again, what I'll do is I'm going to switch to on my hands and knees to show you. So from here, going forwards and backwards. Again, if this is painful on the side that's involved, just do it on the uninvolved side and then bring the involved side in. And then you can go side to side, keeping your shoulders from compensating. So again, if this left side's hurting, you don't want that shoulder to shrug. You want a nice stable and push through that arm and pretend you're pushing pushing away from the ground. You can go back a little bit more, but then you can kind of go in circles. I really like this one. You want to challenge the areas that you're not really used to, and kind of maybe you can kind of scoop through those areas a couple times. Again, if it's painful, do it on the side that's not painful and try to mimic it on the other side without that discomfort. You can also do kind of figure eights. That's a really great way to kind of get a lot of the motion. From here, you can kind of go, this one's, you know, pretty aggressive, but you can kind of go back to the hands and then rocking gently back. You can go palms out and rocking side to side and rocking back and forward. You can also try going palms in. These are pretty aggressive, so I wouldn't necessarily expect to kind of get this far on your first try. And then, you know, what I would say from there is try to push your body away without bending your elbows. And then focusing on rotating your elbow pits. So you have your elbow pit here, and you want it forward, and then trying to rotate it in and out. Forward and in, forward and in. You can do that in multiple different directions. And what that's going to do is it's going to really loosen up that wrist and promote tolerance in a bunch of different directions. If this is stiff, you do want to focus on that area, because what's going to end up happening is if you don't have that range of motion, that twist is going to kind of translate all the way up into the shoulder and eventually possibly your neck and back. So those are just some fun active and passive drills that you can do to improve your wrist range of motion. I really highly recommend this after immobilization. Use it, you know, with a cast or a brace. Hope it's helpful.